Hello fellow board gamers, this is Marcel, your Lord of the ANTS. Lord of the Games. What do I have for you today? I have March of the ANTS. March of the ANTS is a board game, a worker placement board game for 1 to 5 players where you do manage ant colonies. You don't think this is unique enough? Okay, then you can look forward to a game with a very high player interaction. A game with nearly no downtime for every participating player. This is because the active player is always doing something and all the other players, they can react to his or her actions. So, how does that work? I will show you in a few seconds after the setup of the game. Setup of the game is pretty easy and simple. We place the great common tunnel in the middle of the table. We place the round token here for early spring. This is a 3-player game, but I will show you just one colony because I don't have enough place to show you more. But it's exactly the same for every other player. Then every player puts one of his ant tokens in the common great tunnel. Then everybody gets a nest. We will have a closer look of the nest in a few seconds. Every player takes 5 ants and puts it on the larva chamber and 2 food here on the food stores. That's enough. All the other ants and larvae, they will be here. We can get them later. We put the food tokens next to here. Every player draws 2 cards from this pile here, and they are kept secret. Then we have that victory point track. Every player places one of his token on the starting field here. Okay, and then we have these standard hexes. Yeah, these are the hexes which we can explore. They are shuffled and placed here beside the great tunnel. And then we take the starting hexes, the yellow hexes here. They are easier. We shuffle them, and we select 2 per player. These are 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The others back in the box, and they here on top. And this is the setup for 1 colony in a 3-player game. Let's take a closer look at a few very important items, materials of the game. First, the player nest. Yeah? This is the board where all your actions are taking place. We already talked about the larva chamber and the food stores. And here on top of the nest we have the 4 phases of a game. Every round consists of the 4 phases. After these phases we have to advance the round marker. You see, in the worker placement phase we have 4 actions which we can undertake. It's explore, march, forage and play a card. The first 3 actions are paid with food. Just the last action, play a card, are paid with ants or with larvae. So now we see here the ant. The ant consists of a head, a thorax and an abdomen. We can evolve our ants by playing cards. So this is the play cards action. So let's have a look at the cards, how they look like. Here we see an evolution card and we see the name of the card. Here is the cost, larva and ants, 1. Here is the ferocity value, we just need that in battle, we'll see that later. And this is what we get if we pay for that card. So we pay that card, we place it here, and of course there are other parts of the ant, for example the abdomen, the thorax, yeah? And you not only get what's written here, every time you have one set of 3 cards, head, thorax and abdomen, in the end game, where we look at the victory points, we get more victory points for every set of 3 cards. Additionally, the head increases our army strength in battle, the thorax increases our march value, and during the worker placement phase of course, and the abdomen increases our food value in the feed ants phase of the queen phase. So, now we have the nest and the cards. Let's have a closer look at the hexes. This is a starting hex. You can see it, the surrounding is yellow. Let's have a closer look. This is the hex called Tall Scent. It's just a fluff text. Here are the entrances from which you can explore this tile, and this are collection sites. Yeah, collection sites for larvae, collection sites for food. This is a control collection site. If you put one of your ants here, then this collection site belongs to you. Okay, now you know all the material. Let's jump right into action. Each round consists of 4 phases: worker, soldier, queen, phase and slumber. We start the worker phase with the active player, and he selects one of the available actions: explore, march, forage or play a card. In the beginning, personally, I think that the explore action always makes sense. If we want to explore as the active player, we take 1 food, we spend it, and we draw the top hex tile, which we have a look here, and then we put the tile to the tile where the exploring ant is situated. For example, here. This is the only possibility in the first turn, because here in the Great Tunnel we have the exploring ant. So we have to connect the tunnel with these white spots, and then we take the ant and she explores and goes here to this dry seep. She immediately inhabits one of these collection sites, this or this. You don't have to inhabit the control collection site, but I always like it because here we can harvest food in the queen phase. So this was the explore action, and as you remember, there are no downtimes. As a reaction, each other player may now place 1 larva from the nest onto any hex they inhabit. And in the beginning, the only hex everybody inhabits is the Great Tunnel, so the red and the purple player put 1 ant here from the nest to the Great Tunnel. Then the yellow player passes the active player token to the next player, which can be the purple one. So, a second example, the purple one also pays 1 food, draws the top hex tile, he connects it. For example, here it's the loamy tunnels. Of course, he has to put the purple ant here. He can select the site, yeah, which one he wants. Let's now inhabit the larva site. And all the other players, they can now put a larva from the nest to a hex they inhabit. The red one does that, and here we see the concrete action of the yellow player, who selects a larva and he puts it on a site which he inhabits. Here, this hex is inhabited by the yellow player, and it immediately goes to the collection site with the card. Now the active player token continues to go to the red player. The red player shows us another example of an action. Let's select the forage. The forage is also paid with 1 food, and then the red player just draws 2 cards. Draw 2 cards, yeah? And as a reaction, you see each other player may gain 1 larva. Gain 1 larva, the yellow player takes 1, puts in a larva chamber, and the purple player does that too. We don't see that now. Okay, then every player had its turn, and the active player token is at the yellow player again. The yellow player. The yellow player pays 1 food and selects march. March is move 5 steps. Look what we do. 1, 2, 3, 4. You can always march from the nest to a hex where you inhabit, and the Great Tunnel is also inhabited. And the 5th move is here. And now we have a contested hex. It is allowed because the Great Tunnel is connected to these loamy tunnels. And as a reaction to the march, each other player may move 1 ant 1 step. As the purple player is now afraid, because here we will have a fight, a battle, he moves 1 ant here, and the red player moves 1 ant here, and we have a second contested hex. This was the action, the march action, and the active player token goes to the purple player. So, now you see the yellow player, if it's his turn again, he has no food. That means all these 3 actions are not available anymore to him. The only thing he can play is this player card action, So let's see what he can do there. If he wants to play this evolution card, just in case he wants to, he has to pay 2 larvae and 1 ant, and then he can put that evolution here. 1 larva, no problem. 1 ant, no problem. This could be the play a card action. So all 4 actions are introduced to you now. Now, if he doesn't want to play anymore, he has 1 card, probably he can play it, or if he can't, then he has to select the rest action. If you ever select the rest action as the first player, you put a larva and you pass the active player token to the next player. After the other players have selected their actions and you get the active player token again, you are not allowed to select another action as the rest action, and then you put food here on the spot. As soon as the second player in a turn selects the rest action, the worker place phase ends, and we have to switch that token to the moon side to show everybody now the worker phase is finished. Second step of each round is the soldier phase. In each soldier phase, you first have to check whether there are contested hexes or not. Of course, we have 2 contested hexes. In these cases, always the lower number hex is battled first. So here in the dry seep, we have a defending player which inhabits the collection side and a red player in the outskirts. He's the attacker. Now, starting with the invader, each player who is battling may discard 1 card from its hand and add the ferocity value to its army power. But what's the army power? Army power is just the total of the ants. So we have an army power of 1 and an army power of 2 for the yellow player. Of course, the red player selects 1 card from his hand and adds it to the army power. The yellow player doesn't want to lose the hex, and he also plays a card. Now both cards are flipped, and the ferocity value here is added to the army strength. So red adds 2 to a total of 3, and yellow adds 4 to a total of 6. It's easy. The yellow player, the defender, wins the battle. The winner selects his victory point token, advances it to the 1, and the winner loses ants equal to the army strength of the winner. The winner has an army strength of 2, so 2 ants, we just have 1 ant in this case, are killed. And the winner, the yellow player, loses ants equal to half the army strength, rounded down, of the losing player. Half the army strength, yeah, rounded down, is 0. So the yellow player, in this case, loses no ants. Second step would be the next battle, and then the soldier phase ends. Third phase of each round is the queen phase. First we check if we have abdomen evolutions, and we have such an abdomen evolution. We just remember that. It increases the feed value of each food by 1. Now let's start. First is harvest. We all collect resources similarity. Fick dich. 1, 2, 3. Third phase in each round is the queen phase. In each queen phase we check whether there are abdomens or not, and here we have an evolution abdomen. That means when we feed our ants, each food feeds 1 additional ant. Now, first step is harvest and collect resources. Every player selects and gathers the resources, and you select the resources of collection sites where you have ants. Here we get 1 card, well, 1 card. Here we get 1 food, and here we get 1 larva. That's it. That's it for harvest. Now we have to feed our ants, and we see 1 food feeds 4 ants, but we have this abdomen evolution. That means 4 ants are fed by a food plus 1, that means 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. 5 ants are fed by 1 food. The larvae don't have to be fed. And that's the feed ants step. Now there's the royal decree. We can select to gain 2 food or 5 larvae, and I think in this situation we better get 2 food. and that's the queen phase. Last step of each round is the slumber. Every player gets 1 victory, 1 colony point for each inner hex meadow, and inner hex meadow are all hexes that are directly adjacent to the Great Tunnel, whether they are connected or not. That means yellow player has 1 inner meadow hex, purple player has 1 inner meadow hex, red has no inner meadow hex. That's the first thing to take care of, and if we had any colony goals, we had to check whether the text here is fulfilled or not. Then we would gain additional victory points. And that's the slumber phase. We would then start again with the next worker phase. Fellow board gamers, this was March of the Ants, one of the worker placement games that made it in no time into my top 3. Why that? Of course I like the material, the meeples and these nice illustrations, yeah, wonderful hexes, but in this situation this is not that important to me. What I love most about this game is that the theme is transported in a great, in an outstanding way through the mechanics. Why that? First, I told you every single time a player does an action, the other players can interact. We have no downtime, every player is acting nearly every 30 seconds, nobody has to wait, and this transports these feeling of ants, of colonies, working all day. Yeah? Nobody is sleeping. Yeah? And then we can evolve our ants. So everybody can look for a strategy which fits his gameplay most. Yeah? And this is supported too through these wonderful illustrated cards. Yeah? You can try to win. Yeah? I told you a few seconds ago, you have to select your own strategy. Yeah? Here you see how to win the game. You can win by battling other players. You can win by looking for collection sites with these colony points. You can try to win by evolving your ant, because you get victory and colony points by 1 total evolution. Yeah? Thorax, head, abdomen. So then you can win by exploring often, because inner meadow tiles always get colony points. You get colony points by colony goals. And of course there are many endgame victory conditions as well. So you have a very high replayability value. And you have a game which can be played in about 30 minutes. If you want to have a quick game, yeah, then it's just 3 rounds and the game's over. I love to play a long game, and if you play a long game, it's 70 to 80 minutes, no more. So you can play the game 2 to 3 times an evening. So this is why I love the game, because you have completely different winning strategies compared with a huge replayability value. You have these evolution mechanics, which is totally new, and the best of the best is that there's no downtime at all. That means if you like ants and if you like worker placement games, have a look at March of the Ants from Weird City Games, March of the Ants. I have played that game competitively 3 times against my wife, and I always lost. Wonderful. You can also play that game solo, you can play it cooperatively against the centipedes. Tried that 1 time, it's nice, it's really fun, but I personally like the competitive move more because of these highly interactive player actions. There are 2 expansions, I also bought them, but I have not tried them yet. I'm looking forward to try them. Probably I will add them to a next video of mine. I really love this worker placement game. It will never ever leave my shelf. I'm sure about that. So, if you liked my video, please give me a thumb up. Tell me your feedback, tell me what I did wrong. Probably I made some mistakes. If you want to see the next of my videos, just subscribe to my channel. And up to now, I send you nice greetings from Germany. This was your Lord of the Ants. This was Marcel. Have a nice evening, good night, good sleep.